Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I invite Mr. Prakash Jha. Thank you so much for joining us here today, sir. We are so delighted to have you here with us. Now I would like to invite Mr. Amitabh Parashar to kindly felicitate Mr. Prakash Jha.
It's a house full, sir, and that shouldn't be a surprise. Very, very happy to be here. On one side is a filmmaker, जिनकी फिल्में मैं देख के बड़ी हुई हूँ, और दूसरी तरफ a film critic जिनके reviews पढ़ते हुए बड़ी हुई हूँ. So I'm, you know, as even if I'm an RJ, I'll be slightly tongue-tied. We've seen Pariksha, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of everyone here when I say that it's a very, very hard-hitting film. On a subject जिस पर sadly हमारे आजकल की authorities उतनी बातें नहीं कर रहे हैं. So congratulations, really.
Prakash ji, the question that I would start off with is, I mean, see, there's this whole bias that we live with in our society. There are prejudices. People who don't have the means are not allowed to do the things that they need to do to get out of their situation, their circumstances in life. So the first question I would ask, I'll ask you whether you agree with this reading at all. Is there a caste subtext in the film that we are looking at, because he's Paswan and these people are all well-to-do? So although yeah, it's okay. So is there a caste subtext in the film? I mean, or is that something that you don't really need to talk about in this context?
Thank you very much for screening Pariksha and giving me the
you very much for screening it.
Opportunity. It's a very simple story. I was very touched when one of my friends, the ex-DGP of Bihar, Mr. Abhayanand, he once narrated a story to me, a similar story. We were just chatting years ago, and that somehow was stuck in my mind. And then I met this rickshawala in Ranchi on one of my visits, and chatting along with him, and it all came together. And to address your question, you know, I mean, I think poverty is the lowest caste, you know. I mean, that's the education, as we all know, is the best means of social leveler. You know, I mean, I know innumerable people who work around me, people who are around the villages, and I'm still connected to the roots of, you know, my village, my mofsil, my district, and the length that these people go. My cousins from the village would, you know, take their children and drive maybe about 18-19 kilometers every single day to take their children to the school and bring them back. You know, they sort of like the length that they would go, and they continuously go to put their children into some kind of English school, some kind of convent. And these kids who graduate and who eventually make a life and become examples for, you know, numerous others. So for this rickshawala who I met in Ranchi, who told me कि साहब हमारे बच्चे क्या करेंगे, जितने मौके होते हैं तो सब इन लोग के बच्चे उठा लेते हैं. This one line just got stuck with me. The social equity, caste की equity हो, social equity हो, poverty की equity हो, to get out of that is very, very difficult, you know. And even if you somehow have the money to get out of it, to get out of that mindset which the society has around. अच्छा, ये रिक्शे वाले का बच्चा तो बड़ा कमाल कर रहा है, बच्चा नहीं कमाल कर, रिक्शे वाले का बच्चा बहुत कमाल कर, ड्राइवर का बच्चा कहाँ चला गया. And this, we live with this, and I don't know when this is going to really get mitigated from our mindset. But yes, it's these were all around. I mean, I tried to simplify it into making this film and just tell a very simple story about struggle of a father and son, but it's a lot more than that. Yes.
And we were talking about this in the morning in a different context. Your first film, 1984, Hippie Purre, was in a Ranchi school. And this is in a Ranchi school again. And you've cast a lot of Ranchi actors. I mean, there's a whole list of names. So how was it going back to sort of your roots? Because a lot of films that you made, the big ones, the ones with Ajay Devgan and Amitabh Bachchan and Ranbir Kapoor, they've been shot in Madhya Pradesh or Hawaii, Maharashtra, although they were all Bihar. I mean, most of them were Bihar, as far as I know. So how was it going back, and shooting in a place where you started your career as a feature, as a narrative feature maker?
We as filmmaker, we don't really kind of associate with that sort of way. For shooting in Vai or Satara or Bhopal or Bihar or Ranchi is, or recently I finished shooting a 100-day schedule in Ayodhya, which was also amazing. So each place brings with itself, and I like to work with local actors, local people, local means, and they. We did. I always do workshops with actors, and sort of we grow as we do the film. So 90% of the actors, the character actors, or all the actors, there were just a few who came from outside. Otherwise, they're all from Ranchi.
We'll be sharing the mic between me and Shoivalda. Now it's my turn. So, just looking at your body of work, sir, you've, with films like Gangajal, Abharan, Arakshan, you've obviously made very powerful films on socio-political issues. And the diligence with which you do that, now you've taken the subject of education. How powerful or effective do you think cinema is as a tool for social changes? And what is the reason that you continue to take up subjects that affect, that have such wide appeal, but we don't see a lot of filmmakers from Bollywood actually taking on these very real socio-political issues and making films around it?
There are never going to be too many people doing that anyway. So, but there always have been people who have been doing it. I mean, we have seen it happening. Vimalda did it. Mehboob Khan did it. There are so many people who have taken up issues and who have been doing. And even today, I think there are a lot of filmmakers, young filmmakers, who are doing, finding stories in our real issues. It's basically storytelling. I mean, you find a story which is realistic, you treat it with real issues, and you still find drama in it. So for me, it was a huge drama that, he decides to kind of cross the line and become a thief to sort of support the study or support the education of his child, and what happens and when he gets caught up. So there's the drama got together. But I honestly speaking, cinema as a tool for social change or crusading any kind of thing, we never begin from there. We always begin from trying to tell a story, a good story, an engaging story, and that's how films are made. Only when you see the film and you remain engaged will the purpose be solved, in terms of its issue or its motive or its commercial purpose, whatever.
But does that weigh on your mind? Do you think of the commercial aspect of films while thinking of the subject or making it?
Of course. I mean, I'm making a movie. I'm responsible for the success of the film, and it's definitely kind of I'm very scared as to whether the film will communicate, whether the film will connect or engage the audience. Otherwise, it's very irresponsible for people to just make films for Swanta Sukhai.
The child actor Prakash Ji, the child actor in this film. Would you like to talk about how did you find him? Has he acted before? Uh,
I think he has done some odd television work, but not very noticeable. But we did audition a lot of.
is he a Bombay
Kids.
boy, a Mumbai boy?
He now lives in Mumbai, but he's basically from Bihar.
Bihar or Ranchi? Or is he from Jharkhand or from Bihar?
No, he's from Bihar.
So, a child actor, I mean, you did a film called Rahul, which had a child. You don't do, your problems are so serious that you don't have children in your film. I mean, it's too dark for them, your films. So, working with a child actor, is that a challenge for a director like you? And also a cop who's good. I mean, your cops.
I'm not so full of darkness. Shabaz.
No, but not darkness, because the world we live in is full of darkness. And I mean, if you're talking about socio-political issues.
No, I mean it's just a story for me. I still find moments to smile every day, to laugh every day, and enjoy life every day. It's whatever is happening around the world doesn't worry me. I mean, I am interested in it, but it's fine. It's not my life.
We really enjoyed seeing you on screen in Sant Ki Aankh as that incorrigible patriarch, and you've produced some very interesting films like Lipstick Under My Burqa, and of course directed films like this. I know you would have been asked this many times, but I haven't got this chance to ask you which role do you enjoy more? Is there a subject that you feel I'm acting in it, but I wish I could have directed that movie and I would have done a better job of it?
No, I mean, if I am acting in a movie and someone else is directing it, I submit myself to the director and his vision, because that's how it works. It's entirely cinema is a medium where you have to go with the vision of the director and the writer. Everybody who's worked with me has done so, and I believe it should be like that. But yes, acting and expressing through acting has been sort of a recent development, which I enjoyed preparing actors for my films. I had to adopt several ways and means to prepare, say for example, even working with Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, he is a very meticulous actor, and he wants to have all kinds of information. He would like to have readings, he would like to have workshops, and he would like to understand the character, and which is absolutely fine. I mean, I encourage all actors to ask questions and come back with 100 questions. That's how I start. Whether it was Shabana Azmi or Om Puri or Mr. Bachchan or Manoj Bajpayee would call me in the middle of the night and ask questions. So that is a process which I always adopted. And about 3-4 years ago, I started attending actors' workshops, just to be able to understand more about.
But did you ever act as a child in school plays? Never.
I must have acted every single day, I'm sure. But it is fantastic, I mean, it's the whole process, and that is why actors are so respected. That is why actors get the value for their craft and art as they do. I started understanding the nuances and the fineries, and did sort of think of because it's like adding one more form of expression. I operate the camera, I write my scripts, I edit my films, I direct my films, I also write lyrics and everything. So why not acting? Let's do it.
So that when you're talking about doing everything, I mean, you went to the FTII to become an editor, and you quit midway.
No, I didn't quit. I just had to leave because I didn't have money to complete my course.
Okay, so that okay. So now So how important is training for a filmmaker, for an editor?
Immensely important. I always think that a formal training or an orientation in your craft is definitely useful and a must. But I had the good fortune of um, working right from the beginning. I was never anybody's assistant, but I started making documentary films, which was a great way of understanding and learning every part of the craft.
Talking about acting, in Jai Gangajal you directed yourself, and in Sand Ki Aankh you were directed by someone else. So were the two experiences different? I mean, how was it directing yourself as an actor?
And I just have finished another film which is called Matto Ki Cycle, where I have been directed by a first-time director, and it was quite a challenging role, and I have really enjoyed doing that film. That film will come, soon. So yes, it is. Directing myself is easy because I mean, I know what I'm asked to do, but being directed by others, you need to really understand and get into the character. Yeah.
When I was watching the film, and the point that you were trying to make is how education is the only thing that this family, this boy has. They keep saying to get out of this hell, to get out of this rut. And I couldn't help but wonder that, of course, education is. And when I was wondering that when Bulbul, clears his exams and then goes to college, and suppose he comes to JNU, and then he decides to say something, and he has an opinion. How we also, and he has an opinion which he chooses to voice. So although we keep telling our kids that they need to study, when they decide to also put across their point of view, is that a subject that has caught your attention, sir? Are you planning a film on what's happening around? How we want our kids to only study and not say anything?
It's a very good question, but there are very few answers to that. I mean, your answer. So many times I have been asked, about my films. Like almost. Of course, this film had no problem. I mean, I just simply got a U certificate. But most of the films that I have made, most of them, I have had to fight for a censor certificate. Sebal, you know that. FCAT member. So I have had to go to tribunal, I have had to go to Supreme Court, I have had to fight state governments, I have had to fight central governments, and I have had to do all kinds of battles to have my films cleared. People ask me, why do you make films like these? Why do you have, I said, if I make a film which is about people, which is about society, which is about opinion of the people are bound to have an opinion. And they are bound to say, some people may agree with me, some people may not agree with me. There will be debate. Which is what the whole purpose is all about. I talk about things which must be spoken to, which must be debated, which must be, you mustn't forget that this is what is happening around. You must understand the equation, why the police is behaving the way it is behaving. You must be able to question the issue of education. You must be able to question anything which is happening around. Now if a child studies and goes to JNU and becomes Kanhaiya, and if there is a government which I mean decides to open the sedition cases, I mean this is bound to happen. This is what society is about. This is what politics is about. I mean, the timing of each action. I have absolutely no idea if I will be able to find a story in it. If I do, I will definitely do. I mean, as on today, I am really working on a very exciting subject. I can't really reveal the subject, but it is about, I can only tell you the title of the film. It is called Janadesh. So, I'm very excited about it. It's suddenly like, something has fallen in place. And that's how, that is how it happens. So, see, everything is right. What the JNU guys are saying is also right. what the other guys are saying is also right. The thing is, how do we treat the right? You know, do we accept the differences? Do we understand that every opinion, has a life, has to breathe, has to be listened to? You know, the whole world is experiencing a different kind of, atmosphere. The democracy which we all are talking about all the time, and we're trying to defend democracy and defend constitution, I think it has completely failed. As in today, in all over the world, you feel that democratic norms are continuously being challenged and broken and annihilated. Something wrong with it, absolutely. Something new will come. Some churning is happening all across the world. It can't be a coincidence that all over the world you have a similar kind of atmosphere. So nature and society, they work together. And for me, it's very exciting to be able to see that happening, to be able to try and understand it. And when equations, become simpler and I understand them, I like to share them through my films.
I'll ask one question before we throw it open to the audience. A filmmaker like you, who's actually taking subjects from the world around us and from experiences that we go through in life and in society, and then you're making a commercial film, a film that has to reach out to people. Doesn't that make your task more difficult than, say, a out-and-out commercial filmmaker who just does a fantasy, and he makes war or he makes whatever he wants to? And so how tough is that process? I mean, is it in the scripting that you make the changes, or do you also work on it when you edit? I mean, do you change the tonalities of the film when you edit? So would you like to talk about that process?
You know what? I know Deepti is sitting here, and she may not remember this, but I remember the evening that Damul was telecast on television. Damul had won the national award, and nobody was wanting to release the film. I knew the film would never get to the cinemas, and I had taken a loan of 12 lakhs rupees from the NFDC, and I had to pay back the loan. So I don't know how, but somehow that in a meeting at the ministry here, I think SS Gill was at the secretary at that point of time, and I told Gill Saab that, look, I mean, आपने award तो दे दिया मुझे, लेकिन मैं पैसे कैसे लौटाऊंगा? And then they sat and they coined out this, that the film which wins the national award will be given 12 lakhs rupees as telecast fee. And that's how the 12 lakh.
You were the.
I was it started with Damul, it started with Damul. So the entire loan was paid back, and our telecast was fixed. And on the day the film was telecast, we were all in Mumbai. Some of our friends came over. You remember Deepti, and we had this new television that we had bought, and we had a show, and there was food prepared, and so the Bai, who was at home, was also very excited that she had cleaned up and she also watched the film, etc., etc., and everybody was congratulating me, and of course Damul was a big success. But after some time I asked her, कि कैसी लगी पिक्चर आपको? Now, while she was serving, अच्छी लगी. So a little while later I thought, maybe she has not really liked it or something like that, and she didn't understand. I said, but ठीक से बताओ कैसी लगी? हाँ अच्छी लगी, but next time बनाना तो film बनाना. So you see, for me, You know, pure cinema was what we ever we learned. I mean, I made Damul, I made Parinati, and I was into it, and we whole lot of us started. Mrityu Dand's script was written absolutely like a pure cinema script. 93, I was there in Bihar when the entire effect of open market economy and Mandal Commission was kind of like, you know, bang on the society at the grassroots level. And that's what Mrityu Dand is all about. Our country changed in the early 90s. Two major Mandal Commission and open market economy.
Liberalization.
Money coming into the country and the society, and the power game shifting. So money goes in the hands of not the zamindars but the thekadars. And the entire system changed. We are still experiencing the repercussions of those two major things. So it was written like a pure cinema, but when I went to Mumbai in 93, 94 to make that film, I couldn't make it in 12 lakhs. Everything had, everything had spiraled, and NFDC had stopped funding films. They were importing films from Hong Kong, the Kung Fu films, to pay salary to their staff. They were distributing those films. So I had to rewrite the script, and thanks to Subhash Ghai, he suggested, why don't you take Madhuri Dixit, itni अच्छी कहानी है. मैंने एक दिन सुना दी चाय पीते पीते उनको. And he fixed up my appointment with Madhuri Dixit. And while she was shooting Choli Ke Piche Kya Hai, that song, I remember that was being shot in Filmistan, when I narrated the story to her in between the shots. And by the end of the story, she said, I'm doing this film.
As compensation for Choli Ke Piche.
So everybody needs redemption,
Okay, so there are questions from the audience, specific to the film, because we've been asking.
Sir, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I think that we won't be able to do that today. Maybe.
Come back?
Yeah, but not today, certainly.
We are out of time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is what I'm...
Janadesh? No.
Janadesh and Mantu or something.
Matto ki cycle is already done.
Achha, okay.
It's already done. It's been censored now. It'll do its festival rounds. It will come. It's a beautiful film about this laborer and his story with the bicycle. His daughter is 19 years old. His cycle is 20 years old. And his daughter needs to be married, and the cycle needs to be kept in order so that he can reach his workplace in time. Otherwise, he doesn't get job. So it's a beautiful story. And first time director from Mathura, he has made the film. I have acted in it. जब शुरू हमने किया था फिल्म बनाना, उस वक्त बहुत करता था मैं. स्टोरी बोर्डिंग करता था, दामुल के समय में, हिब्बुरे के समय में ऐसा किया था. अब नहीं करता हूँ. अब मैं हर रोज जाके एंजॉय करता हूँ सेट के ऊपर में. वहाँ पहुँचने के बाद डिसाइड करता हूँ, ब्लॉकिंग करता हूँ, वहाँ काम करता हूँ. तो गलती से लेफ्ट राइट में कोई बैठ जाए उसका मतलब नहीं होता कुछ.
All right, any other question? One more.
सर, मेरा सवाल ये है, जो फिल्म में दिखाया, ये मुझे ऐसा लगता है, या आपको भी ऐसा लगता है इसलिए आपने दिखाया है, आपको लगता है कि हम सोसाइटी में कोई भी अच्छा काम करना चाहते हैं या करते हैं, तो उसमें सबसे बड़ा जो ऑब्स्टिकल है वो नेता और यहाँ का पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम है?
अभी क्या कहें, अभी सवाल का जवाब नहीं, मतलब ये क्या करे बेचारा, उसको थोड़ा एडवांटेज देना था उसको, क्या भाई आप अकेले ही गंगा में नहा लोगे यार, हम भी हैं साथ. कोई बुरा काम तो नहीं कर रहा था वो. अब वो हमारे नेता ऐसे ही हमारे बीच के ही होते हैं, हम सब करप्ट हो चुके हैं सर आज. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
So we'll have to announce the awards now. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, we'll
So
do
thank
that
you
right away.
very much, and thank you Prakash Ji for a lovely film and for your time.